If you're a self-taught beginner who has struggled to learn, memorize, and perform songs, then today's lesson is really going to help you out. Unfortunately, beginner drummers are struggling to learn songs well and quickly, and it's not because of a lack of resources online. I believe the internet has actually made it harder for you to learn songs, and I'll explain why. If you're feeling impatient and frustrated by how long it's taking you to learn a song, and you feel untalented and like you just lack the ability to be a real drummer and nail songs, this is not your fault, and you're in the right place today. Back when I was 16 and I had to learn my very first set list for my very first gig, I made a decision about learning songs that impacted every gig that followed and still affects me today, and I'll tell you all about what that was. Today we're breaking down how I believe the internet has killed the art of song learning, and I'll give you my 5 steps to learning, memorizing, and performing any song by ear so that you can become the musical drummer that others want in their band. You can do this. Hey, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer. I'm so glad you're hanging out today. I help self-taught beginner drummers know what to practice so that you can nail songs and be the drummer other people want to play with. And obviously learning songs well is critical to this. And so what we're talking about today is really key to being a good drummer. And hey, if this is you, if this is where you're at, where you feel like I just have no idea how to learn songs, I'm a self-taught beginner, nobody's taught me how to learn songs, I just feel completely lost and overwhelmed by songs, then I have a free PDF e-guide that's gonna help you out with that. And it's actually your companion to today's lesson because today we're breaking down and I'm teaching you the concepts that are in this free PDF e-guide. The guide is called 5 Steps to Learning Any Song in Under an Hour. The goal is to listen to, learn, memorize, perform any song, and do it all by ear without consulting drum tabs or transcriptions or tutorials or any of that. So if you want to get serious about your song learning, even as a beginner, even if you're self-taught and you feel clueless, you feel overwhelmed about learning songs, this guide is going to help you out, and this is what we are breaking down and teaching in today's lesson. So go grab it. It's totally free. Download it, print it off. All right, let's dive into today's lesson. So I told you that back when I was 16, I played my very first gig, and as I was preparing for it, I had to make a decision. What was that decision that impacted me for years to come? Well, it was the decision to wing it. Now, by winging it, I don't mean that I didn't prepare or that I didn't listen to the songs. By winging it, I mean that I did not try to learn exactly how to play the songs exactly correctly. Instead, what I did was I just listened to them, I played along and thought, okay, this fits, this sounds roughly like what I hear on the recording, and this is what I'm gonna do. And that became my approach. Gig after gig, Sunday after Sunday, playing at church when I was in high school, that was my approach. I chose to learn songs by ear, not referencing any tutorials on YouTube. YouTube was very new back then. There wasn't a lot of good stuff on YouTube anyways. No drum tabs or sheet music or anything. I just said, I'm gonna wing it by ear and pick out what I can, and if I don't play it perfect, that's fine. And so here's the concept I want you to think about. Choosing the hard road today will put you on the easy road next year when it comes to learning songs. What we want to do is play the long game. Too many times we look for shortcuts. So how has the internet killed song learning, at least in my opinion? How has the internet destroyed the art of song learning? Well, the internet has made crippling shortcuts so easy and convenient that we fall for them over and over again. What are the shortcuts? Well, generally sheet music. Sheet music is a huge shortcut. A lot of times tutorials on how to play a song note for note, how to play that fill in that song. These sorts of things can become the crippling shortcuts. Now, I'm not saying that these things are always bad, but if you're always relying on them, then they probably are always bad for you, for your playing right now. Now, think about if I've had many students who are in their 60s and 70s and they started on the drums way back in the day, and then they just, they had kids, had a career, and now they're retired and they're getting back into it. And if that's you, then you relate to how, hey, back pre-internet, how did you learn songs? Let's say it's 1975. How are you learning a song in 1975? You're putting the record in the record player and you're blasting it in the speakers. Maybe you've got headphones, but you're probably just blasting it over these speakers and you're just playing along to it, right? You listen to the song and you play along to it. That is how you get really good at the drums. That's how you get really good at learning songs, by doing that. Now, it feels like the hard road right now because it's like, I can't pick apart the kick drum pattern. I can't figure out what that fill is. I can't figure out the details of what's going on. But it forces you to really dig in and really listen and go, okay, what all's going on here? How can I play something that feels like what I'm hearing on the recording? How can I fake my way through this? How can I wing it and play something like what I hear so that I'm at least playing and I'm having fun doing this. I'll let you in on a secret here. Learning songs slowly by ear is the secret to ultimately learning songs fast. Like I said, if you choose the hard road now, the slow road now of learning songs by ear, you're going to, in the future, a few months from now, a few years from now, a decade from now, you're going to be learning songs so much faster than you would have had you kept using sheet music and tutorials every time you needed to learn something. Because imagine, let's say you want to play with a cover band and you got to learn 30 songs, 60 songs. I've played with bands where there's 70, 80, 90 songs total. How do you learn all those songs? You can't possibly learn those by sheet music. That's ridiculous. That's impossible, and it's not fun. It becomes math at that point. And we're not mathematicians, we're drummers, we're musicians. So how do we learn songs by ear? I hope I've sold you on this idea at this point, that we need to be learning songs by ear, winging it, so to speak, and being okay with the imperfection, because a lot of times that is the big obstacle. The obstacle that stands in our way isn't necessarily impatience, it's fear of not doing things right, and fear of, well, what if I don't play this song right? It's fine. This is not math. This is not engineering. We don't have to play the song right the first time. You are allowed to just listen to the song and figure something out and play along to it and have fun. That is what I want you to do, because that is going to serve you well. And over time, you can gradually learn the songs better. What happened for me, I was 16, I decided to wing it, learn songs by ear. Over the months and over the years, every time I would go back and work on a song again, it would pop up in a set list at church again. I would listen to it and I would hear something new and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's actually what the kick drum pattern is. Let's do that. Or, oh, that's actually what that fill is. You gradually pick up more and more details, so you gradually learn. And it all comes back to our concept from recently. This came up in a recent YouTube lesson of sometimes you gotta sound bad in order to sound good. You have my full permission to sound bad before you sound good. Be okay with that. It is okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be perfect. The goal is not to learn your first song perfectly. Your goal is to just play your first song and it sounds bad, and play your second song and it sounds worse, and play your third song and it's a mess, and play your fourth song and it's fun, and play your fifth song and hey, this is really fun. By the time you get to your 10th, 15th, 20th, 30th song, it's actually starting to feel kind of like the song, and you're having fun the whole time. And you're like, you know what? This is starting to sound like what I'm hearing on the recording. Little by little, you have to sound bad before you can sound good, and you have to be okay with that. That is an attitude mindset shift that you might have to make. And sometimes it involves trying to put yourself back in your own high school shoes. If you can imagine, okay, I don't know how old you are, but I have a lot of students who are in their 60s and 70s. Let's say, it's 1970 and you're 13 again. How would you do this if you were 13? What would your approach be like if you were 13? Imagine that you're carefree, you're careless, you have not a care in the world, no life responsibilities, you're just learning songs, you're just playing music and having a blast. What would that look like for you, and how might you approach song learning differently if you felt like there was no expectation on you, no need to be perfect, no need to do things right, not even any concept of what's perfect and what's right, and instead all you want to do is have fun? What would you do differently? I just want to throw that out at you. Okay, let's, at this point, let's wrap up by getting practical. 5 steps to learning, memorizing, and performing any song by ear. This is all stuff that is laid out in detail in that PDF guide. So go download it. It's totally free. Print it out, whatever you want to do with it. But I'm teaching concepts and practical steps that are in that guide. So that is your visual companion. First thing I want you to do, step 1, learn to listen critically. So that just means listening through headphones usually. If you've got some good speakers, that's fine. But ideally listening through headphones so that you can cut off the rest of the world and just focus. Sit in a comfortable chair in a quiet, distraction-free environment and just listen to your favorite song. You'd be amazed at what you hear and what you pick up on that maybe you never did before just because you're sitting there focused with headphones on. It's amazing what that can do. If you don't have any good in-ears, earbuds, or headphones, there's a really good set of headphones that I recommend. I've got a pair back here if I can reach them. This is not an official endorsement at all. I just happen to like these. These are the Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros. You'll actually find a lot of YouTubers talking about these. I noticed when I was researching them too, it's like every gear person has a review of these headphones. But the reason why is because they're really good entry-level professional grade headphones that are high quality. They sound good, but they're under $200. And so I highly recommend them. I love using those to just listen to music and just enjoy music. In my opinion, they're a little bit shrill on the top end, depending on what song you listen to. but there are modifications. You can Google online ways to make them less shrill, and there's some cool stuff you can do. But that's beside the point of where we want to go today. Point is, have some decent headphones, in-ears, earbuds, speakers, whatever, so that you can sit down and really listen to music and enjoy it and appreciate it and maybe hear some things you've never heard before. There's a whole bunch of detail in the guide about what to listen for as you're listening to music. Like, let's just listen to the vocal. Let's just listen to the guitar and so on. Be patient and help teach yourself to slow down and absorb the music and really enjoy it and have fun. Okay, step 2, understand song form with the song form cheat. So a lot of times the big fear, when we're playing songs, especially let's say you're playing with a band for the first time and you're like, what if I forget how the song goes? That's a valid fear. I remember that. I remember being there. But what's cool is I call this the song form cheat. Most songs have about the same form, and you can learn to predict how the song is going to go because most songs actually kind of go the same way. Most songs have this form. I'll put it on the screen right here. A, B, A, B, C, B. Or we could call this verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. And so here in parentheses, VC, VC, BC, however you want to think of it. But the point is you have a beginning section, and then you have another section, and then those two repeat, and then there's something different that happens, then we usually wrap up with a chorus. You'll find that most pop songs, most rock songs, most modern worship songs, if you play in church, follow this form roughly, where it's a verse chorus, and that verse chorus happens again, some sort of bridge that might include a guitar solo or a breakdown or something, and then we wrap up with another chorus. It just feels right. It feels like a complete story. And when you realize that almost every song follows that format, things start to surprise you less. And when you can start to expect the right thing, you realize that learning songs isn't as daunting as you once thought, and learning songs by ear isn't as daunting as you once thought. And so what I want you to do here is write a simple roadmap chart for your favorite song. This is all broken down in detail in the guide with a bunch of examples too. That literally just means listening to the song and hearing, okay, that's a verse, okay, that's definitely the chorus here, another verse, a chorus. Okay, this is the bridge section, and then, okay, there's a guitar solo. Okay, then we go down to like this drums only chorus or some kind of different breakdown chorus. Okay, then we go into like a big high energy chorus to wrap up the song. Most likely that's all your roadmap chart is going to be. This is not hard, it's not rocket science, and the idea here is to help you wrap your head around the big picture of the story of the song. Now for step 3. This is, I just like to call this how to avoid counting while playing a song, because what we don't want to be doing is counting while we're playing. You don't want to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. Okay, I got to remember this on the 4th bar. 3, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm supposed to play a fill now, and then you mess up because you're so busy counting. You don't want to be counting while you're playing, but what we do want to do is count while we're learning the song and just notice, okay, how long is each section of the song? And what's cool is that you can actually predict this too, because section lengths of songs are just as predictable as song form, and that most of the time songs are built of 4 or 8 bar sections. We're almost always dealing with 4s, 8s, and 16s. And so you might have a 4-bar intro and an 8-bar verse. You might have an 8-bar chorus or maybe a 16-bar chorus. You might have a little 4-bar bridge or maybe an 8-bar bridge. Odds are you're dealing with 4s, 8s, or 16s. If you're dealing with blues, you might run into 12. And every once in a while, there are weird oddball examples of where there's an extra bar at the end of something, but it's always going to follow the melody and it's always going to feel right and make sense. But most of the time, songs are very square in that you have 4, 8, 16, maybe 12, but it's these nice square multiples that feel complete. When you're playing along, if you play 4 bars and you play a little fill at the end and hit a crash, that feels complete versus playing 5 bars doesn't, playing 3 bars doesn't. And so most songs feel complete and normal and are what you would expect. Remember, we're basing this off of expectations, and if you can expect that, hey, this is going to be an 8-bar section, why in the world would you need to count it while you're playing it? And so if you realize at this point, you're listening to the song, you listen and you do count, and you write into your roadmap chart how long each section is, 4, 8, 16, 8, 4, then you can now glance at your roadmap chart and see, oh, it's all 4s and 8s. It's all exactly what I would expect. I don't need to count. I don't need to worry about this. I'm just going to play and have fun. Not to mention the song form is what I expected to be, so I'm just going to have fun. It's what I would expect. That's why learning songs by ear does not have to be daunting, because you don't have to play it note for note right. You can just make something up that feels right, and you can now follow along and understand the big picture of the song. So now, step 4, getting into some more nitty-gritty. We've kind of covered the beginner thing, steps 1, 2, and 3. That's the beginner steps to learning songs by ear. But now we kind of get a little bit more intermediate here in step 4. Use shorthand notation to learn and retain drum parts. Now, I'll be straight with you. This takes practice. This isn't something you just do overnight. And my early charts back when I was in high school did not have this. If I heard a groove, I would come up with words to describe it. And I would say big open hi-hat groove. And I would just write that. I wasn't notating kick drum patterns. If there was a tom thing, I would say fast tom groove or slow tom groove, whatever. I would write stuff like that in my chart that possibly to somebody else wouldn't make a lot of sense. But to me, it would help me recall, okay, that's the thing that's happening there. And so you can do that at a very simple level, like just write in a phrase, a couple of words of here's what's happening in this section. But as you get better at reading notation, you will get better at writing notation. Now, there's a little notation crash course in the PDF. So like I keep telling you, grab the PDF, it's going to help you. But if you choose to ever work through a drumming method book like Realistic Rock, it's a fantastic book. I'm always talking about it. I'm always teaching from it. Realistic Rock by Carmine Appice, legendary rock drumming method from like 1972. I love the way everything is written in there, and it's a great book for learning to read notation. Basically, building coordination and learning notation are married together in a book like this, where you're learning how notation works, you're learning to read drum music, and you're building coordination at the same time. And so as you do that and you're learning to recognize these grooves and you see them, what happens is then you're listening to songs and you're like, oh, hey, that's that thing that I learned in Realistic Rock. Hey, that's that groove. I can now see what it looks like. And then it becomes easier to develop the skill of hearing something and writing it out. Now, yes, this is not a beginner skill and this comes after beginner, but know that this will come with time. You don't have to stress about it now if you're brand new to this. But with time, if you work through a method like Realistic Rock, any coordination method where you're learning how to read grooves. By the way, if, okay, you want to do this for free, I've got additional free e-guides. You can find them on the website, nonglamorousdrummer.com. There's one that's 25 rock grooves and fills. They're all notated. You can listen to them, and so that can help you with learning notation. There's another one that's build four-way rock coordination for the beginner drummer. And so it's kind of like my interpretation of Realistic Rock. My Know What to Practice guide has the same kind of stuff in it. So I've got all these free PDFs besides the one we're talking about today that you can find on the website if you want to see more notation and learn how to read more notation and therefore get to where you can start to write it. Remember, it comes in that order, you know, hearing stuff, reading stuff, marrying the two together where now you can hear it and you can see it, you can hear it, then you can start to learn to hear something and write it. And so that comes at that point. So I give this to you to say, hey, this is a next step. And a few years into my charting, I got to where I was starting to do that and just write out basic kick snare patterns, just shorthand, not writing in all the timekeeping, just saying like kick snare, here's the kick snare pattern that's happening here at this point in this song. And so I can see that notation and know what it is. Now, step 5, this is where there's a few things you can do here. And this is where you're kind of just customizing your roadmap chart. But I recommend use color coding so that you can read your chart without having to read your chart. So my system has always been, if I'm playing a closed hi-hat groove, I label it yellow. If it's open hats, orange. If it's ride, green. If it's toms, blue. If it's crash, or, you know, it's just big and washy, you know, hitting crash cymbals, it's red. And so that's my system. That's it. No more colors than that. I've always just used those 4 or 5. I think it's 5. And so figure out a system like that for you where maybe you could just have like whatever color a tom groove is in your head, put that color on there. Whatever color an open hi-hat groove is, put that color on there. If you have a color in your head for loud, a color in your head for soft, I know we all think of different colors differently, but whatever works for you. Sometimes color coding is the key for making your chart more readable, where you can glance at it and just see, oh, red, I do this. Oh, blue, I'm going to do this. Without even going into the detail of writing note for note stuff. It's very possible that can save you a lot of time, because getting into our kind of how we're going to wrap this up, if you're like, Stephen, I don't want to write a chart. What if I don't want to write a chart? What if I just want to listen and play along? Then don't write a chart. You don't have to. If you're not gigging and you're not needing to be able to regurgitate a lot of songs and you're just doing this for fun, don't write a chart. Don't worry about it. I do think writing charts will make you a better drummer and it'll help you get better at internalizing songs and parts. But if you don't want to do it, it's fine. Just listen to the song a bunch. Listen to the melody. Pay attention to the kick snare part. Play along over and over again. If you do that first step of listening critically a bunch, then you sit down and you play along while listening, that's a great way to learn the song. And that's a lot of fun. That's how I would learn songs before I ever officially started playing with anyone. When I was just self-taught, just having fun, that's how I learned songs. And so that helped me get comfortable playing songs before it even came time to officially learn a song to play on Sunday morning or to play on a cover gig. And so If you want to write a chart, follow these steps. The PDF guide shows you all the details, but also if you don't want to write a chart, you can still use some of these steps to get better at listening and get better at playing along. So what have we accomplished at this point? Well, now you can listen critically, you can hear things you haven't heard before, you can understand song form and predict it with the song form cheat, knowing that most songs follow the same form. You can avoid counting by predicting how long sections are. And once you do count them and you write them on your roadmap chart, you don't have to count them again. You see 8 bars and you know what 8 bars feels like. You can use shorthand notation to learn and retain drum parts. And as you get better and better at reading notation and hearing parts and matching them up, you'll get more comfortable writing. And then you can use color coding to add final details on your chart. Remember, all of this is in the PDF guide, so be sure to grab it. My goal for you is that ultimately this is just going to help you to learn songs faster, have way more fun learning songs, and become the drummer others want in their band. Remember, that is the end goal. Don't get caught up in the details between not knowing the song and knowing the song, and don't get caught up in, I've got to learn all this right, I've got to get it perfect, I've got to learn all the fills. You can play with people, you can play well with a band without playing a song note for note correct. Because if you go look up like a live recording of a band playing a song from their record, they're not even going to play it the same way. The drummer for you name it band is going to probably play the song differently live than he did on the recording. And so if he can do it, you can do that too. You get a little bit of creative license. You don't have to play stuff note for note right. Just have fun and just play the drums. So let's play by ear. Let's not use sheet music and drum transcriptions. Let's not always consult the internet. You can learn songs without the internet because the internet will cripple your learning and will slow you down as you watch this video on the internet, right? I hope I'm helping you to wean yourself off of a lot of these resources that maybe you've become too reliant on. And so I wish you the best here. I have a question for you as you go. What is your biggest ongoing challenge with learning songs? Tell me in the comments below, what is your biggest ongoing challenge with learning songs? Let's talk about it, and this will help me plan future content along these lines. So, hey, thanks for hanging out today. I hope this has been super helpful and valuable to you. Know that as always, you can do this. Stay non-glamorous. I'll see you on the next lesson.